Good day, everyone. This is your boy Laurel Cole Mozak, and you're listening to the Socially Awkward podcast.
Socially awkward. Socially awkward. Let's go.
I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're listening. Thank you so much. And before we get started, I'm going to say this. If you haven't already, subscribe, comment, share, like, review. So, y'all, let's get into it. Man, I'm sorry that I missed last week, but last week I was in LA. We go once a year, and we went to support some friends who opened up a nursing school, and incredible, black woman, black man doing their thing. They opened up a new nursing school in Santa Clarita. And so we went to support them. We also did a photo shoot. Hung out with some friends and family, and it was a vibe, man. We went to Disneyland with the boys for the second time, and the boys really enjoyed it. Usually, listen, when it comes to me and my wife, guys, like when we go to Disneyland and we go to Disney World, like we're there for maybe approximately 2.5, 3 hours. We're not there all day. This is who we are. We don't do the rides. We go, we just sightsee, walk, and then we out. I'm like, I don't do long lines. I'm just like, come on. And now we got kids. I'm like, nah, it's really just like a 2 to 3 hour thing, and we done. But this time was different, man. And this time, I must say, I enjoyed all 8 hours. I think we were there all day. We got there around 9:30. We did the Disney breakfast thing I forgot, it's like the character breakfast or something like that at the Disneyland Resort. It was like a buffet. It was incredible. They got to see all their favorite characters while they ate breakfast, and it was incredible. The boys loved it. They were dancing, they were moving. They just enjoyed their time in breakfast, and it was good, man. So that from there we went straight there to the park and met up with my wife's cousin and her 3 kids, and it was incredible. It was good. We had a good time. Took the boys on all the rides. Car rides to Star Wars. I mean, the whole thing. It was really good. So we stayed till about 8. Went to Cars Land. We went to Universal Studios next door. I think Universal Park, whatever it's called. It's Disneyland, and then I think it's Universal. I think so. But we went over there, and it was good. We had a phenomenal time. We stayed till about 8 o'clock at night, which is just for us. It's like that's new. We in and out. Like, we don't waste time. Like, okay, we saw what we needed to see, and let's go. But this time, we stayed the entire day, and we were tired. I was tired, but we ended up driving from there in Disneyland, driving all the way to, I think it was Riverside or something like that, to visit some friends. And we didn't get to the hotel till probably about maybe 12 o'clock a.m. So it was a long day. I mean, it was a long day, but it was good. It was necessary. So the whole 5 days that we were there, it was kind of like we were on go, 24, just on go. Took some amazing pictures at the El Matador Beach in Malibu, which was just, those pictures are coming soon. So if you follow me on Instagram, like, be on the lookout. Those pictures are crazy. They go wow. But man, it was just so good, man. It was peaceful, just busy. And but I enjoyed it. And so that's what I was doing last week, just hanging with the family. And people always ask, how do I travel? Now I have 3 kids. How do you travel with 3 kids? And I feel like for me, man, there's nothing's going to stop me from traveling. Nothing's going to stop me and my wife from getting on a plane and traveling and going somewhere and having fun. I don't care if it's us 5 now. It doesn't matter. We're going to go and do what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids ain't going to stop us. And that's one thing I've realized, like, in my relationship with my wife, like, it's something that we've held on to. It's like, we're not going to stop living our life just because we have kids. We're not going to stop and halt everything, our fun, like, us having date nights or us going out with the kids. We're not going to stop those moments, those potential moments, just because we have, more work to do. And for me, it's not just like more work. It just takes extra time. It just takes more of our time. It's not harder. It's more time consuming. And I think that's the one thing that we don't like to do. We don't like to bring our kids because it's time consuming. It's a lot. I had a double stroller, and I had the baby stroller. So we had 2 strollers total to go to LA. Then we get to LA, we got to rent out a Yukon. You know what I'm saying? And then, I got to put the 2 car seats in, plus the baby Koa's car seat. it was just a lot of work, but it was time consuming. Like it took us a minute to get out of the rent a car section. You know what I mean? Because I'm strapping everybody in, making sure everybody is safe. But for me, though, it may be time consuming. It's definitely worth it, man. So I'm overwhelmed by the moments and the experiences that I have with my kids. But I'm telling you now, like ain't nothing gonna stop me and wifey from getting on a plane and going on vacation. I think we may be thinking about going. I think last year we tried to go on a vacation once a month. You know, we did 9 months of vacation. I think it was like 8 or 9 months we did. Each month we were on some type of vacation. And so yeah, that's just one of those things where I'm considering maybe doing that again, like making that intentional. Yes, we have a newborn. He's 3 months now. But at the end of the day, like I want him to come to experience the world with me. I don't want their experiences to be robbed because I'm lazy. I don't want their experiences to see culture, to see different cultures, to see different walks of life, and to experience new things to be taken from them because I'm lazy, because I don't want to spend the extra time, because it's too hard, quote unquote. Like I don't want that. I don't want that for them. So I think they deserve to be able to see the world. I think they deserve to be able to see certain things that I wasn't able to see when I was little. You know what I mean? Nothing's going to stop me in this season from doing whatever I need to do. If I got to do a podcast and kids screaming in the background, huh? If I got to do a podcast and I hear my kids opening doors, I'm just going to do it. Why not? Had some friends come over yesterday, and we had a great time. We always have a great time. And they asked, "What's your word for the year? What's the call of action for the year?" And so on New Year's, that question, we asked each other we were with some other friends, and we brought in the new year, just loving on each other, loving God. And we had an Airbnb, went out to Oklahoma. It was amazing. And they asked, what's going to be the word for the year for your family? And for my family, God showed me live again. That's what he told me. He said, this is the year that you get to live again. And I was like, God, that's deep, because it's crazy. I feel like I've been walking dead for a long time. It's weird. I feel like our family has kind of been on coastal for a minute, because even though on the outside it looks like we've been doing a lot and we've been progressing and growing, there's still certain things that we know that we're called to that we haven't done yet. We haven't stepped out on faith in those things, and as far as ministry, as far as actually going out into the world, into the communities, and showing the world who God is, you know what I'm saying? And just creating impact in that way. And I think this was the year that God says, this is the year that you live again. Like, live out your purpose again. Live out, just walk in life again. Just be happy again. And again, for the longest, I feel like we've been happy. It's just we haven't been happy walking in our purpose because we haven't been in it. It's a lot of times like we can go in a lot of different directions. God gives us options to go into a lot of different directions. And though those directions may be prosperous, they are still not as fulfilling. And I feel like a lot of times we walk into different directions in life that may be doing well for us, but they aren't fulfilling us. We making the money, we getting the check, we getting the bag, but it hasn't been fulfilling for us. We've been getting, for the single dudes out there, I got all the girls, but you're still not fulfilled. I got this crazy job, I'm doing the thing, but there's still a void on the inside because you haven't tapped into your purpose. You haven't tapped into the call that God has on your life. Like those are the things that fulfill you, is that you walking in the purpose that God called you to. That's the only thing that's going to fulfill you. Like, what has God called you to? What has God pushed you toward? What is he calling you to execute? What is he calling you to prepare for? And once you figure that out, that's when you start to feel that void begin to close up. I'm like, that's what it is. Oh, okay. So that's really what's going to make me happy. It's not the money. It's not the cars. It's not the girls. It's not the job. It's not, it's not any of those things. It's my relationship with God and what he has me to do in this earth. How do I serve God in this season? How do I serve him? And by walking into my purpose, how do I do that in this season? That's what's going to fulfill me. And I feel like in this season, bro, like God is telling me, it's time to live again. It's time to live out those dreams and those visions that you've had for years that you haven't executed, you haven't implemented, you let it sit dormant. It's time to live. It's time to live again. And here's some things like that I've learned. How do you live again? Like what are some things, what are some practical steps that God had to show me? What are some practical steps that looks like living again? For me, it would be taking more risks. Like actually trusting God in the things that I know I should go after, but I've been too scared. I've been too scared to go after. You know what I mean? Like take risks. That's one of the major things that I feel like we are scared to do. We're scared to do something different because it's unfamiliar. Like I'm cool if I'm coasting when I'm in a familiar environment, when I know right from left and I know everything like this, the back of my hand. I can move like that. But when the lights shut off and everything just seems dreary, everything seems dark, or I get into a place where I'm new and the place is new, that's kind of hard to walk in. It's kind of hard to focus. It's kind of hard to maneuver because you're in an unfamiliar environment. And a lot of us don't want to take risks because we're in an unfamiliar environment. When we go out and step out on faith, it's too new. It's kind of like when I was getting my son's haircut for the very first time. Kylo was real fidgety. He was just real anxious. It's real like, hey man, keep your head straight. You doing all this movement. Like, bro, just chill, man. Relax. But I understand how you feel because it's new. It's a different feeling. Somebody touching your head in a different way. It's weird. It's new. It's unfamiliar. But once you get familiarized with that feeling, and once you realize it's not there to hurt you, it's there actually to help you, to make you look better, to make you look cleaner, then you begin to settle in. And I think that's one of the major transitional points in life, is that transition initially, that pressure point is hard. And I mentioned before about transitions in life. Transitions are usually met with pressure. And a lot of that pressure is based off of the anxiety to feel or to experience something new. And in that transition, when you're walking into a season where like things are unfamiliar and you actually take a leap, that leap will help you to settle in to that new environment. Once you settle into that new environment, you begin to see things clear. You begin to have more clarity in what you're supposed to do in that season, in that environment. But we'll never have that clarity if we never take a risk. We'll never understand what God is trying to do for us or within us or through us if we never take a leap, if we never take a risk to figure out, okay, God, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to walk in it. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how it's going to seem. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm just going to do it because I trust you. I trust you in everything that you do. This is all a part of living again, doing things that you've never done before and trusting God in the process. And this is that season for me, man. This is a season for our family. Like, yo, we got to live again, man. Like, look, Walking Dead is doing the same thing over and over and over again because you're familiar with it. That to me, that's living dead. There's no excitement to that. I'm around the same people 24/7. I'm working the same job over and over again. I'm not looking for nothing different. I'm not looking for anything different. I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again. The definition of insanity, that's not living. What are we called to? Like, what are some new things? God gives us visions all the time. It just depends. It's up to us to figure out what those are and how to prepare for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to learn to like figure out, okay, what should I do in this season? And that's most times going to take a leap of faith. God told Abraham, hey man, sacrifice your son. Take a leap, take a risk. Go ahead and sacrifice him to me. Your only son, the one I promised you. Sacrifice him. And he's like, wait a minute, sacrifice my only son, the one that you promised, the one you know what I mean? The one you said I was going to have, the one that you blessed me with. I counted the stars, God. You said many generations were going to come out of me. Now you want me to sacrifice the very thing that you claim that many generations were going to come out of, like sacrifice him. I can only imagine what Abraham was thinking internally, like, yo, this is crazy. But you know what he did? He took a risk. He settled in to what God was telling him, and he trusted that process. He trusted that God wouldn't do harm to the very thing that God blessed him with. And sure enough, he's like, all right now. As soon as Abraham's getting ready, that's all right, bro. You can drop it. You good. I just wanted to test you. I just wanted to see if he was going to take a leap. I just wanted to see if he was going to take a risk. Now I can bless you beyond your means. Now I'm going to exceed your blessings and exceed your expectations because you took a risk and you trusted me in this process. You trusted me. And I think that's what God is needing from me is like, Rocco, there's so many different things that I have for you, but I just need you to take more risks. I need you to take a leap. And another thing that decides what it looks like to live again for me would be not to compromise my values and knowing what my worth is. Like, don't compromise. Like, don't, this is the season where I'm not compromising. Like, you can say one thing, you can try to influence me to think another way. I'm not compromising my beliefs for anybody. I'm not compromising my values for anybody. I believe that, you know, a husband should be a man with one wife. That's my value. That's what I believe. You're not gonna convince me otherwise. Get what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that I really hold to that I'm not going to compromise. I'm not gonna waver. Like, I trust God. I believe God. Period. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not compromising, man. Like, when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to sales negotiations or contracts, like, this is what I'm worth. Like, either we gonna settle in on that or we can move on. I'll find someone else. Like, understanding when you don't compromise your values, you put yourself in a position of strength. You put yourself in a position of power. And it shows that not only do you trust yourself, but you trust the gift that God gave you to not compromise, to not sit here and devalue yourself just simply because you think you need it at that moment, or you think you need it because, you know, you're struggling and you're suffering. So I might as well just go ahead and take this because I need the comfort right now. Like, no, don't compromise your values. Don't compromise. This is not the season for compromise. Just because you feel lonely doesn't mean you compromise and settle for someone who's going to treat you terribly. This is not that season. The season is for you to hold fast to your beliefs, to hold fast to who you are, and trust God with who you are, and value yourself in that. Like, value yourself, but don't compromise. Another way for us to live again is to live in the present moment. We got to be present. Many times, like, we go through life like on speed dial, bro. Like, we out here just we just going. We're not present, but we just going. God said, this is the season, this is the year, bro. Like, you're going to be present. And I noticed that when I took my kids to the park the other day, when I had a lunch with a friend, and I said, I'll take the boys to the park. You know, we gonna hang out. And she had Cole and I had Kason and Kylo. And I took them to the park and we just had a blast, man. They had sand and everything. And I saw that there is a creek. Like, you go down the hill and go through this little forest look field, then go and you see a creek. I'm like, hey guys, let's go to the creek. Like, hold my hand. It was safe, of course. It's like a little trail. And I was just present, man. Like, I didn't need my phone. What do I need my phone for? I mean, I took some videos, you know what I mean? But like, I was just like super present, like hanging out with them and actually being in the Jeep with them, or being in, going down the slides. And it's just me and them. And they recognize that. They recognize and pay attention to the fact that you pay attention to them. And this is the season, man. Like, if you haven't already, try to be present. Get off your phone for a minute. Like, look at your screen time and figure out, like, what's your screen time like? I remember, like, early last year, towards the end of last year, my screen time was up like 10 hours a day, nine and a half hours a day. That was my screen time. I checked my screen time a couple of days ago. It dropped down to like 3.5 hours a day. That's from 10 to 3. That's me being present. That's me showing, you know what, I value my time and I value the people around me. And I value them enough that I'm not going to rob them of the attention that they need and that they deserve. They deserve my attention. And I'm not going to sit here and rob them of that, man. Like, I want them to know that I care. I want my kids to know that I'm available at any time. I want my wife to know that I'm available, that she deserves my time and my attention. All of me. You get what I'm saying? And so you have to really live in the present moment and stop living in the past. Yeah, things happened back in the day. Yes, you may be struggling, or you struggled, or maybe last year wasn't a good year, but live in the present. What's happening today? Stop thinking about yesterday. Don't even think about tomorrow, because tomorrow's not even promised. And for me, that's a big thing, is that a lot of my anxiety comes from thinking too far in the future. I'm always in the futures most times. I'm like, yo, 5 years down the line, I'm going to be this. 2 years down the line, I'm going to be that. Like, this, we about to go here. We about to go. I see this. I see that. I see this. And that brings so much anxiety, because, like, if I'm not in the present moment, I'm too far ahead. What I'm thinking of, like, 3, 4, 5 years down the line doesn't match up with what's happening right now. And so it creates a dissonance. It creates this tension between two worlds, the future and the present. And it causes anxiety. And I had to learn to pause the future, to realize that's going to be there. Maybe it's not, but my future is affected by my present. If I'm not present, tomorrow won't even matter. I have to be present today. And it's something that I've worked on, something I'm continually working on, is living in the present moment. These are ways for me to live again. These are ways for maybe you can hold on to taking risk, not compromising your values, and living in the present. Like, these are ways for you to live again, and again, and again. And so, yeah, man, this is just, for me, man, I need this. I need this year, bro. And too many people are walking into these new years and they don't have anything that they're striving for. And I think that's a sad place to be in, to not have something to strive for, not have nothing to, a goal to, like, to kind of solidify where you're going and where you should be, to evaluate and to measure, okay, God, this is where I was. This is who I was. This is what I'm striving to be. This is what I've become. You have to learn how to measure yourself, and measure the success, and measure the progression of which God is taking you. If you're not measuring, you won't know. You can't look back and say, God, you did this. You brought me from this to that. I was this way. Now I'm this way. We have to learn to measure that progression and trust God in that process. And crazy thing is, as you walk with Christ and as you walk with him, like, he'll begin to show you what you were. He'll begin to show you certain different things, like in your new self or in your new environment. He'll begin to show you what it was then. Like, I realized, like, I wasn't living in a peaceful mindset for years until I got to a peaceful mindset. And I started thinking about, man, I was really irritable about a lot of different things for no reason. Things that used to bother me then doesn't bother me now. Things that I used to be offended by, it doesn't offend me anymore. I was listening to a lady talk about offense, and she said, oftentimes we take offense. In order for you to be offended, you have to take that offense. I was talking to some friends last night, and we were talking about it. I'm like, man, it's so true for us to sit here to say, I'm offended by this. Well, you took that offense. You didn't have to be offended. Because what they do is their business, and how they feel is their business. What they do on a consistent basis or an inconsistent basis is their business. It has nothing to do with me. But a lot of times we grab what they do and we place it as a direct attack on our life. And we become offended. We take the offense. We don't have to be. We offended by politics. We offended by, you saying the wrong name, or saying, now it's genders things. Now it's so many different things that people are just taking offense. Like, you don't have to be offended by it. You took that offense. And because you took that offense, that's on you. That ain't on nobody else. That's on you. And something that I've learned, like, I gotta stop being offended. I gotta stop taking offense. And that's the beauty of knowing, like, where you were to where you are now. God will show you things that were ugly, things that probably don't look good to you now. But when you get to a new space and you start taking leaps and taking risks and actually healing, you just begin to see, like, man, there's so much more life to live. Can I be honest? Can I be real with you? Sometimes you just got to stay in your lane. Like, live in the present moment, in your present moment. Not anybody else's, in your present moment. Because a lot of people do a lot of different things that has nothing to do with you, but has everything to do with them and what they're struggling with, or what they're going through, and what they are compromising or not compromising. That's their life, man. Like, we have to learn to live in our life and live in our zone. Sometimes stay in our bubble. Be in the freedom of our own bubble and stop trying to put everybody else in our bubble. And you should believe what I believe. And if you don't, then I'm offended. And so I'm going to cancel you because you don't believe what I believe. So you just took that offense, and then you try to control the narrative. You try to control how they're supposed to believe based off of your offense. That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. We can't move forward that way. Just stop taking offense. But that's my call for this year, man. This is my year to live again. And this is something that I've been working with and working through for a minute now. And we're at the end of January. It's crazy. 1 month is gone. Like, 2023, we start off with a bang, yo. 1 month is gone. Done. There's no more January after tomorrow. Isn't that crazy? February is right around the corner. And February is a short month, so February will be done in a heartbeat. So I'm just like, I'm really excited, man. And I hope that you have a word for your year this year. And I pray that God just does exceedingly abundantly above all that you can even ask or think. I know that he's going to do it for you. And I pray that for your life. I pray that for your life, man. So if this is your year to live again, live again. Take some risk, y'all. Like, don't compromise your values and live in the present moment. Do it, man. It's going to help you. This was helping me, man. This is my mantra for the day, my mantra for the year. Live again, bro. I ain't living dead no more. I'm not compromising. I'm not gonna sit on ideas that you know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting on ideas anymore. Like if God gave me a vision, like this is time for me to implement it, share it, and let's roll with it. Let's go. Like, stop sitting on ideas that God gave you. Like, live again, man. Don't let them ideas die. God gave it to you for a reason, so might as well implement it. The pressure is when we think that those ideas aren't gonna go anywhere. That's where we get that pressure. To get that pressure off you, say that's on you, God. My job is to create. My job is to implement. My job is to do it. It's God's job to let it go and let it flourish. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people, they stop too soon because of the weight of the pressure that it didn't go anywhere. Well, you wouldn't know if it went anywhere, not because you stopped too soon. But you got to give that up to God. That's on God. And sometimes God tests our consistency. You know what I mean? How consistent are we going to be in the things and the visions that he's given us? How, is he going to trust us that if it blows up, is he going to trust our consistency? Is he going to trust our private moments with him? Is he going to trust our diligence and our work behind the scenes? Like, are we working behind the scenes in our private time? Are we studying? Are we studying our craft? Are we working? You know what I'm saying? Like, can God trust us with exposure? And that's a big piece in our life where we think we stop too soon because we want to be exposed so quickly. We want that microwavable exposure. And God said, I got to prepare you first. You got to be consistent first. I got to prepare you for that type of exposure. And too often we quit too soon. We're like, you know what? I got this dream to be on YouTube, to be this influencer or whatever. But you quit because after 4 or 5 episodes or after 4 or 5 videos, it didn't go nowhere. I ain't got a lot of views on my YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going. Yeah, it's not about that for me. I just want 1 or 2 to be impacted. I just want 1 or 2 to feel that, you know, to feel this energy, to feel, you know, that they can change, to feel that they can learn something new. Like, I don't do this for likes. I don't do this for exposure, man. I just do this because I know I'm called to it. And too often we doing stuff for exposure. We're not doing things because we're called to it, because God has pushed us in that direction. No, we're just doing it because we see somebody else doing it. No, man, do it because God called you to it, and be great at it and be consistent. And it'll go whenever God says it's time to go. The right time is going to be the right time, man. PJ Morton said he was getting ready to quit. He did Gumbo. He said, this is going to be my last album, man. I'm done after this. I'm just going to dive deep into who I am. He dove deep into who he was, and because of his consistency, it was just the right time. It was just the right time. God said, I can trust you with this exposure. I'll push you out there, and now you ready. And from there, he said, from that moment, it changed his life. Too many times we stop too soon. And we give up. And God's like, all right, well, there's that. There's that. And then you try to start a new venture, and then you got to do that process all over again, thinking that I'm about to blow up doing this. No, just be consistent, man. Just halt. Be consistent. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep going. Don't be in a rush for exposure. Don't be in a rush for fame. Don't be in a rush for, man, I'm telling you, man, all that stuff comes. And if you're not ready, prepared for it, I'm telling you, man, it'll tear you up. If you ain't ready, it'll change your life in the opposite direction, in the wrong way. You know, so don't stop, keep going, be consistent. That's my word for you. But I want to start a new segment before I leave. I want to start a new segment, like a news segment. You know, just go with me. Just go with me. This is a new thing I just came up with. I want to start something different. Like, do what I do what I've been doing. But I want to add a different component to my podcasting. And this segment is going to be like a news segment. I don't know. Maybe you can help me out with the name of this segment. But I just want to talk about what's trendy in the news, what happened in the news, and just kind of give my perspective on it. So something happened recently. And because I'm a father, a lot of stuff on my timeline and my feed comes up about dads. And so this is a new thing. So this is the new thing. I don't know how to call this segment. I don't know how to transition it. I'm just gonna roll with it, and y'all just rock with me. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is. So there's this new dad, and the title says "New Dad Being Needy with Girlfriend After She Gave Birth Sparks Fury." And what this article is, it went viral, and this article was talking about how this new dad gets upset with his girlfriend because she's not going out enough for him. He said he's needy. He's very needy. And so I guess during, I guess she had a rough childbirth, and she just hasn't been in the mood to do a lot of different things. Months later, she's just hasn't been in the mood, and he's on paternity leave. So he wants to do all these different things. He wants to go here and go there. He wants to be active, and he wants her to do it with him. And he wants to do all this stuff with her, but she's just not up to it. And he gets upset about it. And she voices her concern on the forum saying like, yo, what is this normal? Is this normal for him to be this way and not really be empathetic of my needs? I just had a child. Gave birth to his child, but he wants me to do all this stuff. I'm just not up to it. And my perspective on this is there's a lot of men, I've seen it, man, in person. Like there's a lot of men who become very needy after their girlfriend or their wives give birth to their child. And a lot of that is because that attention that they used to get is now being directed toward the newborn. And because of that insecurity of attention, they lose their marbles, bro. Like they lose their brain. Like, yo, this is a new environment. Again, we talked about being in an unfamiliar place, not learning how to settle in something that's new. They haven't settled into the newness of, having a child. And because they haven't settled in, they say, okay, I need you to do all this, that, and the third. Listen, bro, let me holler at you for a minute. She just had a baby. For those dads who are very needy, listen, she just had a baby. Your job is to empathize with her and to serve her in this season, because she has a lot of emotions, a lot of hormones happening, a lot of stuff going on that we don't understand. We can't handle what it is that whatever she got going on in her mind. It's not up to us to try to figure out. Our job is to serve her. Our job is to make sure that she's good, to make sure that she is supported. Because oftentimes we try to drag her into doing things that we want her to do, that she's just not up to it. I mean, she's losing blood. Maybe she gets on her cycle. That's a whole nother thing. And then she has this baby crying, and she's using, she's feeding this child, and this child is very needy. Now you're acting like a child because you needy too. No, we need to make sure, we got to figure out how to support her, because there's a child who needs her. Yes, they need dads too, but they need to survive with their mom as well. And too often, man, like we put our needs, we put our needs above the needs of the mom. We put our needs above the needs of the child. And sometimes there has to be a certain season where we step back and say, you know what? It's not about me right now. It's about my wife. It's about this child. It's not about me anymore. Right now in this season, it's not about my dreams and what I got to do. I got to do this, that, and third. We got to go out. It's not about you right now. You have to learn how to empathize and realize that these are new changes, and we all have to adapt to these changes. And it's not going to be like this forever, but just give her time to get on her feet. Give her time. It may be some months. It may be 8 months. Give her that time that she needs so that she can be whole and healthy for you and for the family. But if you don't give her that time, man, like she's not going to be healthy or whole for you. You're just going to be dragging her along, and she's going to snap at some point. You don't want that. You don't want her snapping. You know what I mean? A woman bruh, I'm telling you, you don't want a woman snapping at you because she's had enough. Your job, man, is to support her. Stop with the needy stuff. It's not about you, bro. I'm just be honest with you. It's not about you. It's this forum that I read online, and it just sparked a lot of fury. It says it sparked a lot of debate regarding men and women, and how that dynamic happens when you have a newborn, when you have a new child. And I've learned after the first two, we had twins initially. I was like, yo, this is a different dynamic. It can't be about me right now. It can't be. My focus has to shift. You know what I mean? And now having baby Koa, it's like, yo, babe, like, you good. You need me to rub your feet right now. Like, You need me to grab your water because I know it's hard for you to walk. I know it's hard for you to, to get up and do certain things. You can't do what you used to do. Now you're having body image issues, and now there's a lot of things that go on in a woman's mind, man. There's a lot of things that go on in her body that she's trying to work through. And we have to be empathetic as men, as new dads. We have to be empathetic of that and help support her through that. So yeah, I guess that's the culture aspect of the podcast. Just trying to talk about something that happens socially in our culture and kind of bring light to it. So if you have an idea of what to name this segment, let me know so I could transition to it. Say, hey, yo, this is that segment. Let's get into it. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to try something new. Say what I'm going to say, but also transition into talking about what's going on in our culture, talking about what's going on socially, and just kind of giving my spin and my perspective on that. And then just rocking, man. And so I appreciate you guys for rocking with me thus far. This is my 25th episode, and I'm so glad that you're rocking with me. I'll be back again next Tuesday at the same time, and I launch my video podcast on Wednesdays on YouTube. So if you haven't checked that out, if you like versus, listening versus watching, do your thing. It's up to you. But yeah, man, hit me up. Make sure you review, subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for your reviews, by the way. The reviews have been incredible, and I've been taking heart to that, and thank you. I really do thank you from the bottom of my heart. But till next week, I'm out at y'all later. Peace.
Socially awkward. Socially awkward. Let's go.